Standard 8, Instructional Strategies. And the guiding question is, how does the candidate use multiple instructional strategies to help students develop deep understanding of content areas and build skills for applying that knowledge in meaningful ways? So here, you started off this video doing some assessments of students. At first I thought it was a running record, but then I realized it was you were doing some fluency work. And so so that you started off with that, and so then you're using, so yeah, I looked at that as monitoring student learning, so you're definitely doing that there. And then they went into doing reader's theater. They went into a reader's theater. So that's what this was looking at, as a structural strategy for comprehension development and fluency.
Yeah.
Because without fluency, the kids usually don't comprehend what they're reading. So
which they love. They love reader's theater.
yeah, it's fun, right? I mean, of course they love it. They get to act, and they get to
I thought it was going to
become those characters and things like that. So, and then you're also kind of through this. They also had a review of parts of the story, setting, plot, characters. So they were not only working on their fluency, but they were also working on understanding story elements and better than they might before. So
I was trying also to review for the map testing.
okay, that's good. Yeah, no, that's definitely good.
But I don't. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that just happens. I
took a lesson for each thing. Like we did one for the plot, and then we did another one for the setting, and why is the setting important, and there's different types of settings, and so we did 2 weeks, and every week we focused on one thing.
Oh, good.
But
yeah, well, that's something we'll look at next year, because I think it's a good idea for some kids who it works for, it works, but for other kids who still aren't going to make that connection, they're still asking those questions, but it's going to look and sound very different when they're on the test.
Very different,
so that's what I always used to think about testing is, we do all these math games. My kids are great at the math games, but then when you write the problem down, they don't make that connection to this is the same. They're asking me to do the same procedure. You're asking me to do the same. So we have to. Sometimes it's about just helping them see that. The testing. That this is what it looks like, but it's the same question really that I ask you every morning when we come to the rug and before I read aloud.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So the roles in instructional candidate provides effective instruction, serves as a facilitator. This is what I said to last week when I was talking to Shambi as well. I mean, the hard part is videotaping and doing the lesson at the same time, right? You're because it's hard to be the person who's trying to move that around and get this kid and get that kid, and at the same time fully dedicate yourself to focusing on that. Because I did say that you definitely made some good points with you got them back on track. They got a little stuck there at one point in the reader's theater, but there were also a couple points where I'm like you could have you probably could have said a little bit more to them, but you were too busy. You're doing those things, So I can definitely see that, and you can see from the fact that they know how reader's theater works that you've given that facilitation and that direction at other points, because they all knew what to do in reader's theater. They all knew how their roles worked, so they've been taught that, right? So that was clear that kind of stuff goes there, and that they asking questions that you did that some during it. There's one point when you're getting them back on track, but then afterwards when you were on talking, and then they were doing a worksheet about the sequencing of events. And so then you had some differentiated worksheets. So you had some for kids that just got beginning, middle, end, and you had others for kids that you picked and go into more detail.
Yeah.
So that was.
I tried to. Yeah.
So that was good, because obviously your kids, you're monitoring what they're where they are. The goal, of course, is to get all those kids to that larger that bigger sheet. But just from watching, you could tell that the kids were where they were supposed to be. Like the kids who weren't there yet just aren't there yet. You can tell that from their answers. And so and so that's where that conversation, comes to adapting the instruction to their needs as well. And I could also for kids who have trouble with that beginning, middle, and end of the sequencing, sometimes, especially with reader's theater, sometimes it's good if you take the stuff that they've written and you're like, okay, I'm going to read this out and you're going to act this out, because then that sometimes helps them see. You're like, oh, really, that got there, and is that how that story went? It helps them. It helps them see it, so you can take advantage of that kind of theater aspect of it, which is what they already enjoy, right? They enjoy that. And for second grade, even for second grade, it's fun sometimes to do because and next year we'll probably do it in readers, but you have kids write their own ending, write a different ending to the story. And so the kids like doing that no matter what, but they really loved it when we have you've done a great job this week, so on Friday we're going to spend a little extra time doing Reader's Theater, and everybody's going to get to act out, their own ending to the story. So then they like that a lot too, so it's fun. But
they were asking me today because I promised them we would do another week of Reader's Theater, and because I was sick, I changed it to just review. And they were asking me today, but you promised that we were going to do another story. So I'm hoping that the last couple of days we can do another story.
Yeah.
And bring
Hillary Clinton promised she was going to debate Bernie Sanders in California, but she's not doing that. You should edit that part out.
That's what they're going to tell me. Promises, I know.
But yeah, so I thought that went well, and it was obvious that that this has been something that's. And and this year, since our reading instruction is a bit more individual in the classroom, and not necessarily, it doesn't necessarily flow as nice as it will next year with writing workshop. It's you can see how it's obvious that you've layered this instruction that they've been doing
Chrissy
stuff in reading, and they've been doing.
I didn't come up with that.
Well, yeah, that's the thing about good teachers. You don't have to. As a good teacher, you don't have to read.
Because I was a bit. I was actually like, okay, well, if I'm going to do the Oreo, for example, what am I going to do in reading that kind of connects, but they can still grow? And she recommended I do Reader's Theater.
She loves Reader's Theater, and I like Reader's Theater a lot. Yeah. It's not the answer to everything. If I hear Chrissy tell it, it's the answer to everything, and it's not. But
maybe she just recommended it, like, oh, she's asking for something, I'm gonna get it.
But she loves it. No, she thinks she uses it a lot. They're good.
Okay.